It's finally time. Ash, Lily, Hao, and Kukui are off to Ula'Ula Island. After defeating the trials of Mele Mele and Acerola Island, as well as their respective kahunas, Ash and Hao are finally ready for the next step in their island challenge. It is said that Ula'Ula's kahuna is the strongest one in Alola, and that he rarely ever grants any trainer a grand trial, that they will have to prove themselves through his standards. And if they aren't worthy, then their island challenge stops there and will never be completed.
Let's go and reach so high to the blue that goes on forever. Underneath the sky we share, we can travel anywhere. So bright the sun will shine. Love the journey, it's in my nature. Feels like I've been set free. This new adventure's calling out to me.
The four of them set foot on the island's largest settlement, Mali City. Ash and Hao are going to split up from the others to pursue their island challenges, but before that, Hao approaches Ash.
Ash, let's battle right now.
Sure, but why?
Ever since we first battled, I felt like I was always behind you. But that ends today. I want to prove that I'm just as strong as you are.
If that's how you feel, because I have no choice but to accept! The two rivals then have a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle. First up is Lycanroc versus Alolan Raichu. The two Pokemon are both pretty fast, but Alolan Raichu blitzes past the majority of Lycanroc's attacks, using its aerial mobility to its advantage. Lycanroc continues to attack and, while landing a few hits in, is at a disadvantage and as a result, goes down. Next up is Rowlet, who was able to match Raichu in speed. And due to this and Raichu being weakened, it doesn't take very long for Raichu to eventually go down. Ash returns Rowlet as Hao sends in his next Pokemon, Tauros. Ash then decides to bring out Pikachu, and the battle is pretty tense. Which surprises Lily, as up to this point, Pikachu has demolished any opponent he's faced. However, Hao's Tauros is a strong Pokemon with insane amounts of power. However, Pikachu is just as powerful as ever, and during this battle, Pikachu's size is what gives him the advantage. Despite being jabbed in the side by a direct Iron Head, Pikachu was able to persevere and take the win. Hao's final Pokemon is his ace, Dartrix. Now Pikachu seemingly has the advantage as it's more experienced, but eventually the pain of Tauros' Iron Head fully takes effect, and Pikachu becomes consumed with pain, giving Dartrix the time it needs to land a counterattack. And Pikachu goes down. It's now down to Rowlet and Dartrix once again, and the two decide to end the battle with an all-out clash of sheer power and activate their Z-Rings.
Oh, great spirit of Alola, give Dartrix and I the power we need to defeat my rival.
Let's do it, Rowlet! Let's show Hao and Dartrix our full power!
Use Bloom Dew!
The two Z-moves clash, entering a stalemate, but eventually Hao's Z-move overpowers Ash's and directly hits Rowlet, knocking it out, making Hao the winner of the battle. Ash smirks and returns Rowlet, coming up to Hao and shaking his hand. Dude, that battle was awesome!
Sure was, although you seem awfully excited for someone who just lost.
Yeah, I did lose, but in reality, a loss only motivates me to become stronger. So when I look at it that way, you actually did me a favor.
Man, even when I win, I can't seem to win in spirit. You really are something, Ash.
The two rivals go their separate ways as Ula'Ula Island awaits. It took some trekking, but Ash finally made it to the Hokulani Observatory, where his next trial is supposed to be. Here he meets Moraine, head of the observatory, and Sophocles, the trial captain and an aspiring astronaut. They tell him they're unable to do the trial today, as today is the day all their research finally comes together. Ash is naturally curious, and Sophocles tells him that he and Big Mo have been researching about the Pokemon Minior and their descension to Earth, and today is the day of descension. Ash gets excited by this and prepares for the meteor shower with the two of them, including helping out around the observatory. Finally, the moment is upon them.
The meteor shower should start in 3, 2, 1, now!
The Minior then descend to Earth, and it's truly a beautiful spectacle. It's also here that Ash learns the truth about the Minior, that their descent to Earth is actually the end of their life, and their life essence will return to space. Ash is shocked by this revelation, but then comes to realize that life can be seen as short for a lot of people, and that some lives are super short, like the Miniors. From this experience, Ash learns to appreciate life a whole lot more. He also learns about Sophocles' goal of wanting to become an astronaut, and Ash tells him that as long as he puts his all and his heart into it, he knows that one day he'll make that dream come true. The next day arrives, and it's trial time. For this trial, Ash has to figure out an electric circuit using Chargebugs as the main power source in order to power up a machine. After accomplishing the challenge, the totem Pokemon appears. Totem Vikavolt. Ash sends in Torracat and Rowlet, and the two face down the Totem Pokemon and their Chargebugs. The battle is pretty intense, but the two are able to push past the Chargebugs and face Vikavolt head on. Vikavolt, however, uses its ability Electric Terrain to give its electric-type moves more power. This eventually causes Rowlet to go down, but Torracat stays strong. It wants to become stronger, to one day best Incineroar, and it can't do that if it falls here. Torracat is able to push through Vikavolt's barrage of attacks without using a Z move and takes the win. Sophocles comes up to Ash with a smile.
That was awesome! You and your Pokemon were so cool! Take your Z Crystal! You've earned it!
Since Ash already has an Electrium Z, Ash is granted a Steelium Z courtesy of Moraine. Ash says farewell to Moraine and Sophocles and heads back to Mali City. Ash makes it to his meetup spot with Lily, and when he gets there, he finds her talking to none other than Gary. The two catch up, and Gary says he's here to visit his great uncle, Samson Oak, who runs a library here in Mali City. The three go inside and Gary reunites with his great uncle, who is excited to see him. While the two catch up, Ash and Lily find a little girl reading about legends, and she introduces herself as Acerola, one of Ula'Ula's trial captains as well as the niece of the Kahuna. The two are interested in what she is reading, and she tells them it's the story of Alola's past. The legend states that in the distant past, Alola was attacked by abhorrent creatures from distant dimensions, led by a monster of light, who wished to steal the light from our world. However, the four island guardians, along with Alola's legendary Pokemon Solgaleo and Lunala, combated the army of creatures and ultimately defeated them. However, it cost Lunala a part of its body and Solgaleo its life. In honor of the sacrifices the legendary Pokemon gave to Alola, Alola's ancient people forged two flutes to worship the legendary Pokemon, and created melodies that symbolize each Pokemon. Ash and Lily find the story interesting, and Ash wonders if the strange creatures are Ultra Beasts. After this, Acerola tells Ash she'll be waiting at the Tapu Village for him, and the two wants to say farewell to Gary, and now it's back on the road. While on their way to Tapu Village, Ash and Lily find a group of Pokemon trainers being attacked by some Alolan Sandshrew, led by an Alolan Sandslash. Ash gets in the way and battles the Pokemon, but the group retreats up to Mount Monokila. Ash is determined to stop them from attacking any more people, and so Ash and Lily trek up the mountain to stop them. However, Team Rocket is following behind them. They make their way up the mountain, where they learn it's actually the time of year when Alolan Ninetales gives birth, and the Sandshrew and Sandslash are merely trying to protect them. Just then, Team Rocket attacks and steals all the Pokemon in the Little Ice community. Together, Ash and Sandslash combat Team Rocket, and eventually, Beware shows up, don't ask how, and takes them away. The two then free the remaining captured Pokemon, saving the day. Sandslash is inspired by Ash's determination, bravery, and strength, and he believes that he can become just as strong as him by becoming his Pokemon. Ash accepts and now has a brand new Pokemon to assist him with the Island Challenge. Ash and Lily have finally made it to Tapu Village, where they meet up with Acerola. She leads them to the abandoned Mega Mart, home of her trial. Her trial specializes in Ghost-type Pokemon, and her trial is quite simple. Defeat the Ghost types around the store, and then take a picture of them defeated. Then make your way to the back to face the Totem Pokemon. Ash does just that, and with the help of Rotom-Dex, he's able to capture a picture of all the Ghost-type Pokemon. He then proceeds to make his way to the back of the store where his opponent awaits. Totem Mimikyu, which immediately charges at Pikachu. Ash sends out Sandslash and the battle begins. Mimikyu has a Haunter as its partner and the battle is very intense. Both Pokemon are targeting Pikachu, and so Sandslash is using this opportunity to charge up attacks. Pikachu eventually gets tossed to the ground, but not before Ash uses Gigabolt Havoc to knock him back. However, the Pokemon remain standing, and Pikachu then goes down due to being attacked over and over again. It's up to Sandslash now, which causes Lily to worry. They haven't been a team for very long. But Ash quickly surprises her. They actually work quite well together, and due to the other Pokemon being weakened by Gigabolt Havoc, Sandslash is able to force his way to victory and claim the win. Acerola comes up to Ash with a Z Crystal, a Ghostium Z.
Well, you already know how this works. Take your reward.
Thanks, Acerola.
So, planning on taking the kahuna now?
Yep.
You may have some trouble with that. You see, the kahuna isn't actually too fond of his job, so it may be hard to convince him. Luckily, the kahuna is my uncle. I'll see if I can put in a good word for you.
I don't even know what to say. Thank you, Acerola. With all of Ula'ula's trials being completed, Ash only has one thing left to do. Take on the Island Kahuna, and the group makes their way back to Mali City as they plan to meet up with Acerola and her uncle at the Mali City Police Department tomorrow. As they return to the city, Howland runs up to them, his face distraught.
Guys, it's bad. Professor Kukui is in trouble.